Hello world. In today's video, we are going to talk about Python decorators. What are they, why we need them, and how to write them. So without any further delay, let's get started. What are decorators? In simple terms, without using tricky terms like design pattern, wrapper function, etc. Decorators are functions which takes the original function as an argument, add new functionality to it without changing the original function on code level. Why we need them? Sometimes we need to add more functionality to some portion of code and we do not have the original code with us, or some cases when the original code was written for specific case, but now we have to add some more scenarios and sometimes tricky to modify the original code, so we can go with the decorators to make it better. How to write decorator code? Let's take an example to divide two numbers where we have original function which divide two numbers, which works fine for two non-zero number, but it fails if any of the number is zero. Here we have certain constraint that we cannot modify the original divide function. So in this case, decorators comes into the picture. So let's start with an example. Here we will create a function named divide which takes two arguments, num1 and num2. What it does, it simply divides both these two numbers, num1 divided by num2, return out from the function. That's it. It does nothing, just more than this. So let's call the function divide and pass the two arguments 10 and 2. So as we are expecting, if we run this program, the function would call this function. It will give num1 as 10, num2 as 2, and it will print the division of both these two numbers, 10 divided by 2, what we expect to get the answer as 5. So this was the only function, simple function, which divides the two numbers. Let's say if we change the argument as 10, 0. So as we are expecting that if we run this function, it will raise the zero division error, which says that division by 0 is not possible. But we have that constraint that this is our original function. We cannot make any of the modification in this function. So how would we change and make it correct? It can simply swap that number, prints the user that it cannot be divisible. So here decorators comes into the picture. So without making any of the change in this function, let's create another function. So let's create another function as check divisibility. So what this function do? This function take the argument of this function. This function is given as an argument to this function, so it will take the function as an argument. This function take an argument of func, which is nothing but a divide function, and it return the wrapper function. Now what's the wrapper function? Wrapper function is another inner function of this check divisibility function. It will get called and it takes the same argument which is taken by the divide function. So here we pass the two arguments, num1 and num2. Over here we will check if num2 is equals to 0, then we'll say print division is not possible, or we can also say that this cannot be divided by num2 to num1, and we will return from here, so it will not move ahead. Whatever the function we are getting over here as an argument, we will call this function. So we will call this function with the same two argument, num1 comma num2. So this function is nothing, just a divide function we will call. So let's print some of the lines over here so we can get a better idea that which step is getting executed. So we can say that inside the check divisibility function, okay, then if it come over here inside the wrapper function, we will say inside the wrapper function, and over here we also print the same line inside the divide function, so we can get a better understanding that currently which function is getting executed, right? So over here we can divide two scenarios. Divide with argument 10 and 5, which would be this. And let me copy paste the entire thing again, and in this case let's take 0. So here, so let's try the first one. In this case, we generally divide this function. If we call this function, it will go and execute this. We are not going to invoke this, which we have already seen. Now we are going to invoke this function. So for this, what we are gonna do, let's call this function and provide the argument of this function, which is divide. And whatever the reference or object of this function is, will pass number 10, 5. So check divisibility function will get called. Whatever the value we have over here as an argument of divide, func will hold that function name as divide, and after executing the above code, the divide function with argument 10 and 5 would be get called and it will execute this function. So let's check what is the expected output. See, we get 10, and above we get 3 statements. First, inside the check divisibility function. So from here we jump over here, we handle the function this. After here the wrapper function get called, then we go inside the wrapper function, and after the wrapper function we get called with the divide function. Then we print over here inside the divide, and after executing the print statement from there, we computed the result of division of two numbers, which is 2.0. So this was the case first. Now we copy the same, and this time we will divide with this 0. Earlier what we did, when we passed the argument as 10 and 0, it raised the 0 division error, cannot be divided by 0. But in this case we will throw that message that cannot be divided by 0 to 10 without changing this original function. This is the beauty of the decorators. So let's run this. Look, as per the procedure, we jump into the check divisibility function. After that, the wrapper function is called. We were inside the wrapper function, and in this case we got the argument 0 as num2. So this condition gets true, and it says cannot divide by 0 to 10, and from here we return out from the function without executing the further functions. So this was the decorators. But generally we define the decorators, or we use the syntax for the decorator with the @ of symbol or the character. So this is nothing different, it's the same thing. So we can comment this and directly copy this function above this with the symbol of @ and just paste over here, right? Again, now we do not have to write this entire thing again and again. So earlier we were calling the check divisibility function to run our functions. Now we do not require to run the check divisibility function. We can directly use the divide function. So as of now, if we take 10 and 5, we expect the output to be 2, and if we replace 5 by 0, we expect the output of that message. We cannot divide the function. So this is the decorators. Hope you guys understand it better.
Decorators are supported by most of the programming languages. So at the conclusion, it helps to extend the functionality of a function without changing the code and structure of that function. Thank you for watching. You have been a good audience. For more such videos, do like and subscribe, and follow us on Instagram. Link is given below.